We're going to do something a little bit different tonight on this Tuesday. We talk a lot about Democrats on this show, and we do that deliberately to point out what is happening to that party. People who have learned absolutely nothing about the mood of this country after what happened in November on Election Day. Something that's become shockingly clear over the last 2 days in Minneapolis. Have you seen this? We're going to take you through it so you can see for yourself just how bad it's gotten. We watch this stuff so you don't have to. Meet Ken Martin, the new chairman of the DNC. Ken opened up the first Democrat summer meeting since the election on Monday as Democrats try to find their footing. This is a big moment for Ken and for the party. And then this happened right after Ken took the stage.
Paul, I need more sound. Good morning. Good morning, Democrats, and welcome to our Democratic National Committee meeting and to our summer meeting here in my great state of Minnesota. I hereby call this meeting to order.
I swear, it's like I'm looking at Mick Jagger right there. It's like a Kiss concert or something when you see Ken warm up an audience. After that smooth start in that round of applause, standing ovation, it was like Game 7 of the World Series. I don't believe what I just saw. Ken thought he would further warm up the crowd, so he welcomed in a woman named Lindy Somack for one of these really normal Democrat, pretty standard, right down the middle land acknowledgments that only Democrats seem to do and Democrats seem to care about, or Democrats seem to think that everyday people care about, which of course they don't.
Let's talk about the land for a second. The DNC acknowledges and honors the Dakota Oyate, the Dakota people, who are the original stewards of the lands and waters of Minneapolis. The Dakota cared for the lands, lakes, and the Wakatonka, the Great River, the Mississippi River, for thousands of years before colonization. This land was not claimed or traded. It's a part of a history of broken treaties and promises. And in many ways, we still live in a system built to suppress Indigenous peoples' cultural and spiritual history.
Yes, the Wakatonka, the mighty Wakatonka River, what could have been. Ken Martin has been DNC chair since February, and this is how he opened up his first major event, by telling everyone that they're having breakfast on stolen land, because nothing gets a crowd pumped up like telling someone that you're having coffee and donuts on land that was stolen. But it got worse after that when Ken welcomed in a Lutheran pastor named Jen Rome, who proudly displays her she/her pronouns in her bio. And Jen talked about how we're all neighbors, which sounds totally normal, but when you're a Democrat, nothing is normal anymore. Take a look.
Love of neighbor is part of so many expressions of faith and wisdom. Neighbor doesn't just mean the person living in the apartment or the house or the tent next to you.
The tent next to you. The tent. Pastor Rome thinks that everyday hardworking Americans are living next to people living in tents, which of course they are not. 99.9% of America does not live next to somebody living in a tent. And you shouldn't be. In fact, the only tent cities left in America are in Democrat-run cities, like the one where that event is happening on stolen land, Minneapolis. In fact, right down the street from where the Democrats chose to hold their summer convention, again on stolen land, property owners in Minneapolis held a press conference about how bad it's become. And while you're watching this, make sure to focus on everything happening behind the speaker, one of the largest homeless encampments that Democrats and Pastor Jen Rome want you to think is perfectly normal.
I am here just for the homeless. I believe they're abused. And the reason they're here is they've been kicked around a lot. So I don't need really to speak about that. The facts speak for itself. Go to 2nd Avenue, go to the homeless, come in the morning and see the drug dealers and all the activities. So the homeless is an issue, yes.
These two events happened in the same city on the same day, less than a mile apart. This all happened this morning. And Democrats want everyone in America to think that what you're seeing right now is normal, to have hundreds of drug addicts living in tents together, doing God knows what, right in the middle of one of the biggest cities in the wealthiest country in the world. But of course, that is not normal. None of this is normal. And Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, didn't say a word about any of that this morning.
We wouldn't wake up every day to a bunch of on TV and a bunch of nonsense. We would wake up to an adult with compassion and dignity and vision and leadership doing the work, not a man-child crying about whatever's wrong with him.
So these are the leaders of the Democratic Party today, and these are the people who want to be president in 4 years. People who think telling other people that they are living on stolen land is a good way to win voters back over. People who know nothing about how everyday people in this country live their lives on a daily basis. And we want to emphasize that again, just so it doesn't get missed. People like Tim Walz and Ken Martin and Pastor Jen Rome not only don't know anything about you, they don't want to know anything about you. These people are so trapped by their own narrow worldview that they have lost any remaining connection to the rest of the country, to you, to me, to honest, hardworking people, good people who don't care about stolen land because caring about stolen land doesn't put food on the table. No one spends time thinking about stolen land. Nobody. Because in reality, thinking about stolen land just doesn't matter. And neither do things like she, her pronouns. But the things that do matter to everyday people in this country don't matter to Democrats.
Where does Trump go? Migrant crime, carjackings, the really lurid, awful stuff that is a crazy, crazy visual. Don't take the bait, because most Americans are more worried about how are we going to address mental health issues, the visible homelessness that we see on streets. Don't take the bait in talking about migrant crime or carjackings or the things that actually don't matter to that many Americans.
Oh yeah, of course. Voters care more about mental health than they do about violent crime. That's a great logical point. They care about mental health more than they do about carjackings. Do these people hear themselves when they're speaking? Have you ever heard someone more out of touch with reality? That woman's take on reality is literally the opposite of reality, which is yet another reason why Donald Trump won in November. And her compassion when she says this. Americans don't care about mental health. They don't. They care about keeping their families safe and putting food on the table. If a migrant raped your neighbor's daughter and stole your car, no one is going to ask the police about that migrant's mental health. They're going to call the police and hope the migrant gets arrested and spends the rest of his life in jail. That's reality. Back to Ken Martin for a moment, the new chairman of the DNC. Ken has become the perfect symbol for the modern Democrat Party. And we knew that right after Ken got the job. And he started crying during a DNC phone call because no one knew who poor Ken was. Make sure you listen to the end. I swear you can hear Ken cry.
No one knows who the hell I am, right? I'm trying to get my sea legs underneath of me and actually develop any amount of credibility so I can go out there and raise the money and do the job I need to put ourselves in a position to win. And again, I don't think you intended this, but you essentially destroyed any chance I have to show the leadership that I need to. So it's really frustrating. Jane.
Did you hear it? He's crying. This is the chairman of the Democratic National Committee. He's crying. There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in politics either. The truth today, the Democrat brand is about as appealing as Cracker Barrel. And we'll get to that in a moment. Today, that's how good they are. And everything Democrats are doing seems to be pushing them farther and farther away from everyday Americans. And it's happening in places where Democrats thought they were popular.
Now, of course, Donald Trump has been president since January. Are there any bright spots for Democrats? Have they picked up any ground since January 1 in terms of party registration? Not in these key swing states, these 4 key swing states. What are we talking about? Party registration margin gain since January 1, 2025. Which parties gain in Arizona? The GOP. How about Nevada? The GOP. North Carolina? The GOP. How about in Pennsylvania? We'll make it 4 for 4, the GOP. The bottom line is this, Jessica Dean. When it comes to party registration, Republicans have made massive gains.
The Democrat rebrand has been so bad, such a failure, that if the election were held again today, Donald Trump would win by a larger margin because Democrats are more concerned about stolen land than they are with trying to steal back the country.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.